Hey, welcome to another episode of the Not Scrum Dumb podcast. I'm your co-host, Andreanna Marshall, and that's my amazing co-host.
Grand Scrum Master Scott, greetings.
Today, we're going to be talking about a question that we got from one of our students in our class, which we actually have a whole section in our class dedicated to this. But one of the questions they had at the start of the class was, what is the definition of done? Sometimes this can be a very confusing concept. They asked that early on. We usually go through a little something where we try to get what are some people's questions ahead of time, so we make sure that we answer them. And if you'd like to join any of our classes, you can check the link in the description. Scott, do you want to take this away and talk a little bit about the definition of done?
Absolutely, Andreanna. Thank you for joining us today. First of all, the definition of done, according to the Scrum Guide, means quality and completeness. It is a shared understanding that when we get to the end of the project, end of the thing, end of the sprint, that we all have a shared understanding of what do we mean by done. Now, I'm getting ready to use the definition of done. I think most people use the definition of done in their personal life. They just don't call it the definition of done. But I'm going to take you through a scenario that hopefully that you can relate to. I'm tired of these beige walls. My favorite color is mint green. So I'm going to have a painter come in here and paint my walls mint green. Now, when they come in, imagine I'm talking to the painter. Hey, painter, I want you to paint my walls mint green. I want you to paint my baseboard high gloss white. I want you to paint my ceiling flat white. Okay. Now, painter, are you going to roll the paint, brush the paint, or spray the paint? Now, the painter probably is going to say, I'm going to spray the paint. I figured as much because it's faster. Now, what you can't see is I got a window on the other side of this camera. It covers the whole wall. I like to feel like I'm outdoors. So now that the painter told me they're going to spray the paint, my glass is clean. So here's what I'm going to say. We're going to establish a definition of done. Hey, painter, you're probably going to get paint on my window over there. Okay, you make sure that when you're done, the window is just like it is now. No paint on it, clear as glass. Actually, look and feel like I'm outside. The painter agrees. Now let's fast forward. The painter begins to paint. At the end of the project, the painter comes in and says, Scott, I'm done. What is the painter really saying? Scott, I want to get paid. so I'm going to go look at the room. Now, we all have our own pet peeves. Now, my pet peeve, as I've already identified, is I don't want any paint on my glass. Now, when I walk in the room, I'm pretty sure that we can see that there's paint on the walls, but my eyes is going to gravitate to my window on the other side of this camera. And if I see paint on my window, it's not done. The person's not getting paid. Painter, call me back when you're done. The painter, get the paint off the window. And the painter says, Scott, I am done. Are you done? Or are you almost done? I'm done. Okay. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to do an inspection according to my definition of done. Check. There's no paint on my glass. Now I'm going to look at my baseboards. They high gloss white, right? Exactly. I want to make sure there's no baseboard paint on my wall paint or vice versa. I look at the baseboards. I look at the wall paint. Good. Now I'm going to look at the ceiling paint and I'm going to look at the wall paint to make sure there's no paint crossing either place, right? So no wall paint on my ceiling paint or vice versa. Check. Well, paint a good job. You did a very nice job. You produced this increment, paint on my walls, according to the definition of done. Andreanna, was that helpful?
Yeah, that's great. And I think to continue on to that, the thing that you're seeing in Scott's story is both the painter and Scott, the stakeholder, are on the same page. They both have a definition of done that they're now inspecting together. And the painter knows what to meet and Scott knows what to evaluate. And that's important when you're using Scrum. When you go to a sprint, when you have a sprint review, now both the Scrum team and the stakeholders, they both know what type of quality that they're looking for. And obviously, you would not show any work that doesn't meet the definition of done. So we can be very confident in that and just give feedback on if we like it, if we don't like it, what can change, and so forth. Leaning in a little bit more on this, on why the definition of done is important. We just talked about transparency, alignment on what we can inspect, consistency and quality assurance. So not just for stakeholders, but now the Scrum team also understands, as developers are working through, how to get to done, how they're building something quality, that they won't be up 2 a.m. because something's broken. Nobody wants to deal with that. So when you have a high standard of quality and you have a definition of done, hopefully you won't have something like that happen. And then it improves team accountability. With the shared definition of done, everyone in the team is accountable for meeting this criteria, which helps foster collaboration and attention to detail.
That's good. Yeah.
And the last thing that I do want to call out with the definition of done is not static. It should improve over time. We don't want to be having technical debt or any time that we see that we're having issues to be able to say, let's raise the bar on quality. Don't think of it as something that's a one-time deal. Always be looking to improve it in your sprint retrospective. All right, so we covered what the definition of done is. Scott gave you a practical example. We covered why is it important and that you should continuously improve it using your sprint retrospective. All right, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe, see our LinkedIn profiles and connect with us. See our free material in the description, also some paid ones. If you'd like to come to a live course, you can do that. Or we also have self-paced courses in the description as well. And as always, if you made it to the end of this video, you have an attention span greater than a goldfish.
Be legendary, everyone, but not Scrum Dumb. We'll see you in the next episode.